So dive right in. Hollywood Hills and suburban thrills. Hey you, who are you kidding? I'm not like them, I won't buy in. Hollywood Hills and suburban thrills. Hey you, who are you kidding? Don't quit till 47. Then we'll turn it up and we'll play a little faster. Take back everything you ever said. You never meant a word of it. You never did. Take back everything you said. You never meant a word of it. You never did, she said. Alright, slow down. Oh no, we won't. 'Cause I regret everything that
I'm the Sacred Cow and you're watching STV.
I am Alexander Martinez, and this is my segment, Tales from History. So, in continuation with my last two segments in which I am going over, sort of briefly, the history of the U.S., at least up until I think this is going to be the last for now. So, I mentioned at the end about how taxation without representation was the sort of leading cause of the American Revolution, due to the wars that France and England have, such as the 7 Years' War. They caused a massive debt within Britain, but they did expand their land, such as in the colonies. Now, the colonies, at this point, weren't really faced with much taxes, as they were just beginning, they were just growing, just flourishing. However, at around 1767, the British king decided to levy taxes specifically on the colonies. In 1767, the Townshend Revenue Act was put upon the colonies, taxing various goods exclusively for the colonies. It wasn't for all of Britain, it was exclusively for the colonies. The colonies, at which point, did not have any legal representation in the parliamentary system in England. So they sort of rang out against it, rebelling against it, peaceful and some violent protesting, and or rather rioting, as it would be called. And then it ended up being undone, at least for a bit, because in 1773, the Boston Tea Party occurred after the Tea Act was initiated in 1773. And Boston and Massachusetts, parts of New England as it referred to, were notably more rebellious than the rest of the colonies. Boston was very rebellious to these actions. That's why the Boston Tea Party occurred, in which American colonists dressed up in Native American garb and threw tea, hundreds of tons of tea, into the ocean at port in Boston. Now, England, of course, didn't like that, and in the following year, 1774, the king came down with the Intolerable Acts, which basically forced the colonies to accept these taxes and various other sort of demeaning acts, such as having to garrison troops of Britain for free and bring them food, which makes no sense. That's why actually in the one of the amendments they have it where the government can't garrison troops in homes without request. And after the Intolerable Acts, the Revolutionary War occurred in 1775, which lasted to 1783. The first battle occurred between Lexington and Concord in Massachusetts, because Massachusetts was very rebellious, and so that's where they first started. Now, it was a light skirmish. The Americans lost because there wasn't a real militia. In these times, a person to be a part of the militia was anybody from 15 to 45, and they were required to have their own equipment, a list of equipment. And if you were 15 to 45, you were considered to be a part of the militia. If you were outside those range, you could still be. There's notable Minutemen from like 13, 14 age who occurred in battle, who participated in battle. So those age limits weren't exactly strict. And the colonies didn't declare formal independence until 1776 after meeting twice in Philadelphia. And around 1778, France joined the war, giving weapons and troops to the U.S. and fighting Britain homeland. So the American Revolution wasn't just about sort of taxation or representation. It was about rebelling against intolerable acts against people, and it was targeted acts against the colonies. And the colonies did not accept that. They didn't accept it being targeted, and they rebelled, and successfully, thanks to the help of France in part, became separate from England, became independent of England. So that was the American Revolution, in short.
I can't believe I show up to do an interview and no one's here.
Oh, hey Katie.
Who are you?
I'm the STV's Sacred Cow.
I don't think cows are sacred in the US.
Yeah, but that's the only way I don't end up in some kid's Happy Meal.
Can that really happen?
Trust me, there is nothing worse than being ground up, covered in ketchup, and shoved into a box next to some apple slices and a parrot toy from the movie Rio.
Have you ever had to sit through one of Mr. Freeman's law lectures?
Oof! Ouch. You got me there.
Okay, so are you here to tell me how STV works?
Well, STV got kind of sidetracked last year. But this year we got a new sponsor, Mr. Freeman.
So he's got everything running smoothly again?
Well, you know how it is with creative people. The kids all have different ideas on what STV should be, so our meetings can get a little chaotic.
That can't make Mr. Freeman too happy.
No.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Wow, so how do you guys get motivated to get things done?
It's tough. I mean, all of our equipment's a little bit old. And a lot of the teachers don't show us TV in their classes, so our audience is kinda small. But you know, when we do connect with one of the students or teachers, and they give us a compliment, it makes us feel like...
It's alive! Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! Oh, in the name of God! Now I know what it feels like to be God! Oh.
And Mr. Freeman really cares about the program, so it's not all that bad.
So what do you see the future of STV being?
That depends on next year's group of students. If they really care and do hard work, it could be awesome.
What about the STV Sacred Cow?
I'm doing 2 shows at the Hard Rock this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I'm moonlighting, but